High temperatures can be deadly, especially for older adults. Chronic medical conditions, prescription medication, and other factors can impair the body's ability to regulate its temperature. However, many older adults, especially those on fixed incomes, are hesitant to run their air conditioner for fear of high energy bills. Here to share some no to low cost ways you can save money and energy while staying cool is Jeff Rogers with Gulf Power. Jeff, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having Gulf Power on the show. Well,
it's definitely warm and people are concerned about the temperature, but as we mentioned, people are concerned that they don't want to overextend themselves financially, but we want them to be safe and healthy. In order to save some money this summer but also stay cool, what are some things that people can do?
Well, we're going to talk about some things, some quick fixes, some short-term fixes, and then we'll also talk about some long-term fixes. The main thing that people can do right now is try to get their thermostat set on 78, which is the recommended setting in summer, and leave it. For every degree below that, they're going to pay about 3 to 5% more on their energy cost for their AC system.
Well, what about when you leave the house, though? Can you go above 78?
If you're leaving it every day, definitely you can have a programmable thermostat like this one right here, and have it automatically go up to, say, 80 to 83 degrees, and you'll definitely see some savings there. Have it come back down and cool. If you're there during the day, of course, you want to stay comfortable. Ceiling fans can help mitigate that and keep you a little cooler, make you feel a little cooler than you normally would.
Well, no, there's a little bit of a misconception about ceiling fans, but they're not really cooling the room, are they?
That's right. They're not cooling the room, and people should definitely treat a ceiling fan like a light when you leave the room. Flip it off, because it only cools from the evaporative feeling on the skin.
Okay, so
not necessarily cooling the room.
Okay, so that's a good way people can kind of cut back a little bit.
Definitely.
Well, you were talking about thermostats, and I was going over some of your material about certain things that you should not place near a thermostat. Tell us about that.
Anything that produces heat can throw a thermostat off. So if it's near a light, if it's not a CFL, it's a standard incandescent light, which throw up a lot of heat, that can affect the reading, make it feel hotter than it really is and make it run longer than it is.
So it's actually telling the thermostat that it's warmer in the house than it actually is, causing your unit to run longer
Very
or
true,
more.
very true. And then there'll be some other situations where the thermostat would be not located centrally enough. So one room would feel really warm, but back in a hall where the thermostat says, hey, it's cool, I'm going to go ahead and turn off. And the rest of the house is not that comfortable. Okay. So the position of the thermostat and what's around it definitely affects that.
Well, a big part of that unit is also the filter. Tell us a little bit about how often we should be changing filters.
It's very important. This is a very neglected item in the home. There's two different kinds of filters. Everyone's seen the blue ones. We recommend you change those once a month. Those work fine. These are the ones we really want you to use. So these are the pleated filters. They've got more surface area, and they can stay in there for about 3 months. We recommend you periodically check them every 3 months and then replace them.
And more frequently probably with people with pets in the house.
Very true, and here's why. You want that airflow to be unrestricted, and as soon as you start restricting it, your air conditioner's not working as efficiently as it could, and it's going to run harder and cost you more money. And that's the same with leaving interior doors open in your house. Some people like to close off bedrooms. That restricts the flow of air. Check your vents and make sure they're not blocked. Check the return air grill and make sure it's not blocked. Just you want that air to be able to flow freely throughout the house.
Well, if somebody really needed some help identifying some issues, now I understand you guys have some folks that will come help them out and
That's right.
come out there and do that.
At no charge, Gulf Power will come out and do what's called a home energy checkup, and they'll look for ways that you can save money right now and also some long-term solutions to help you save.
Now, is there any charge for that person to come out?
There's no charge, and actually you can do it online if you want. We've got a whole online system where you can go in there and do your own energy checkup, or we'll come and do it for you, and then give you a report.
Well, we are always concerned about people's safety. Obviously, if people are coming out to the home, what type of identification do your people have with them?
There'll be a hard plastic Gulf Power identification card with a photograph on it.
Okay. Well, you mentioned the light bulb and held it up briefly. Tell us a little bit about these lights. This is more into the long-term solution.
This is one of the newer CFLs, and you see it looks almost like a normal light, and if you look closely you can see the curly Q inside of there. But these will save about 75% over your standard incandescent bulb, plus they don't give off the heat. Another great benefit is they last 10 times longer than your standard incandescent bulb, but you really get a good savings going there, and this is a long-term solution, like you said. Or you could do it as your bulbs go out, replace them with CFLs. Or some people I know will just go in and replace them all and start saving now for the long term.
Okay. Well, what about, you mentioned interior doors, obviously exterior doors are letting cool air out, but what about windows and window treatments and that type of thing?
That's a good point. There's two things we can talk about. One is the air seal of the home. If you've ever had a room that maybe feels a little warmer or more comfortable, I know I have one in the summer because my kids are going in and out the door all the time. So that's one thing. If you can limit traffic, make sure your kids aren't standing there holding the door with whoever. Don't prop the door, make sure it's closing good. Check the weather stripping around the door, make sure it's adequate. Making that air seal, windows you talked about, make sure the weather stripping's good around there. Then the other thing is the sun pouring in. Now, we talked earlier about your home and how you've taken some measures to try to keep that sun, and that's huge because sun comes in and heats the air. So we recommend during the day, the windows that the sun hits, you pull drapes down and keep that closed, and then at night you can open them back up.
Okay. What about landscaping? I read somewhere about the proximity of plants to your outside unit.
You want to make sure you have a good buffer where it's clear. That outside unit is cooling. It's cooling the freon from your AC unit, and you want to make sure that's clear and that air can move freely. Another interesting point about landscaping is that trees around your house can help block the sun, shade your roof, and make your house cooler. I've heard some folks talk about before and after Hurricane Ivan. They noticed a difference in their electricity bill because their AC was running more, whereas their roof and attic were staying cooler. Now those trees aren't there to shade the attic, and it was a lot hotter.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you have available that may help people on a budget to really kind of flatten their bill across the year.
This is a great program we have. It's called budget billing. And what it does is it takes a look at how you use electricity and gives you an average bill throughout the year. So instead of, hey, all of a sudden we've got a mild May and a really hot June, and then you have a larger bill, it averages that out so your bill stays really consistent throughout the year.
So how can people find out more information about that?
They can call customer service and ask to be set up on that. And that's a number is 1-800-225-5797.
So does it just go back and look at your history, or how do they actually?
They look at your usage from the year before and then average it for the following year, and then it gets re-averaged for the next year and the next year as you continue to move along.
Okay. Well, what are some other low to no cost things that we may not have talked about that people could do now?
I'd say just walk throughout your house and look for the obvious things. The air seal that we talked about, any windows or doors, blocking of the vents with furniture or drapes. You may even consider getting a storm door for the outside to help, if you're using a door a lot, to help keep that hot air at bay.
Okay. What about some of the other long-term things like the Energy Star appliances and that type of thing?
Well, if you're going to be in a home for a while, say 10 to 15, 20 years, and you want to make an investment, there are a few great things you can do. The main one is attic insulation. We recommend R38 insulation, which really keeps that heat down. Other things you may want to consider is updating your old AC unit with a heat pump or a geothermal heat pump, depending on how long you might be in the
Great.
house.
Jeff, thanks for being here. It's great information.
Great. Thank you.